But I wanted to talk to you guys about these 550-watt panels that I got, that I tried to get. If you saw the video, you know I went through the whole process of trying to get these very large panels. It did not work out for me. The panels were busted. The video is in the link to the. What you doing, Mama? My daughter's right here. Don't grab daddy stuff. Um, the link is in the description. Some people, a lot of people were very, come on now, stop. A lot of people were like so sorry, and I had commented under a few people's joints. Come on, get out of this area. Go be sad somewhere else. Go ahead. Now you can hang out, but you're not gonna be whimpering and whining. We are gonna go for a walk outside. Hopefully the internet range works out. So I do want to talk about that. But people would say like, sorry to hear it, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm cool. It just didn't work out. I got my money back, so I was good money on that. Less like $30. The protection on it was $30. And the interesting thing about the panels being broken, I wanted to clarify. So what they said was, uh, so if I hadn't bought the protection, but they were broken, my understanding is I would have been able to return them. But if I had bought them and they were in pristine condition, because they were open box, that's another thing to this. They were open box. Um, I would have just been out of luck. If I got them and they didn't pull any voltage or anything like that, they just would have been a 600 some odd dollar mistake, which is bananas. But in fairness to them, because some people were upset in the video, in fairness to them, they do allow you to come out and look at your item. So you can like reserve or whatever, come out and check them out. They would have allowed me to pull them outside. Somebody would come outside with me and I could test them. And then once I found out that they were good, then I could go ahead and bid on them with some confidence. But if you buy the protection, it doesn't matter what the reason is. If you don't want them because you change your mind, you can return them. So it's something like that. I am happy that I bought the protection, but because they were broken, I would have been able to return it. That's my understanding of the situation, right? Right. Now, after I purchased them, I did have a bit of buyer's remorse, just a little bit, because I tried my best to be very methodical with my purchases. I was doing like research. I was comparing the price per panel to if I just spent like 1,200 on Santan Solar on like some 400-watt panels. They didn't have the perfect price point for me. Actually, it wasn't 400s. It had to be like 385s or something like that, which they didn't have enough in stock. I'm constantly monitoring Santan's site to see if I could get some 385s for a certain amount of money, because the panels that I want are like 270. But anyway, I was comparing prices and all of that jazz. But after I bought it, I wondered if it was a fair comparison, because these items weren't new. And all the panels I look at on Santan are new. They were open box. I'm pretty sure the manufacturer would have been like, Renogy would have been like, so nah, bro, we can't help you with that. So I did have some buyer's remorse, a little bit, but it was still a good deal money wise. It was 660 some odd dollars. That came out to about 62 cents a watt. I originally wanted to spend nothing over like 550. I wanted to be able to come in a little bit lower, but as I kept inching my bidding price up and I was willing to go a little higher, it would go from like 57 cents to 59 cents. I'm like, okay, if I go another $50, it would go from like 59 cents to like 62 cents. And it would go from like 62 cents to like 64 cents. So it's like at the end of the day, it really wasn't a big deal to jump from like 580 to like 620. Don't quote me on those numbers, but I'm just giving you an example of what I was kind of dealing with. Now, here's my problem. Let me see if I could get the camera going so we could go outside. I invited myself to this joint and I want to be able to use this camera. So I just want to talk about these panels and how they wouldn't necessarily be the ideal situation for me. An ideal situation for me is to get maybe like at least four 400s. And hopefully I can show you why in a second. Let's accept this. Open in another browser. Let's just try Chrome because Chrome is the most Google-ish browser, so I don't have to deal with any situations because I use a lot of okay, it's already on the back. I'm going to say mobile, and then I'm going to mute for now. The back camera is going. Let's enter the studio. Now I'm gonna have to figure out this audio. So I think what I want to do, let me see what y'all. What's up, Nathan? Nathan, how's that EV going? I've been meaning to text you, man. LA Times, good to see you as well. Good audio. Thanks, Jason Noit. Michael Blackstock, good to see you, sir. Region Sky Girl, what's happening? Good to see you. I hope all is well. Chloe K, Char Farme, you made it kinda on time, right? You don't got it. All right. Let's see. They would let you open the box, even though that means snapping the straps. Yeah. I mean, we would have to get it open. So they let you pull it out and get it popping. All right. I'm in here. See if I could add. Let's do this. Add the stream. That is working. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to remove this one and sound's going to drop for a second. So just bear with me. Can you guys? Oh, wow. My bad. Fail. What am I looking at here? I'll just mute this. All right, mute that. All right, let's go for a trip. Where my slappers at? Here go my slappers. Yo, the EB3A, the fan is wilding. I'm gonna put a short out about that tomorrow. I can't see the chat. Let me see. Let me click the chat. I don't see anything here. Okay, there it goes. Comments. You're here now. Okay, Sleeper, what's happening? Can you hear me? I have to go back in the chat to see if y'all can hear me. Let's go to comments. Were you bidding against yourself? Nah. Shoot, I can't tell if y'all can hear me or not. More chat, comments. Okay, cool. Thank you. It updated. Sounds good. All right. So here's my problem. You know, I took one of the panels off of here, and that's now on this porch with this one. This is the Rich Solar and Bouge RV. But before then, what I had was a 800 watt array. It's like technically 750, but let's just call them 200 panels. I had an 800 watt array. I have a 400 watt array, a 320, and a 200 right there. Here's the problem with the 1000. The 1000 watts. Actually, it's like 1100. The AC 200p maxes out at 700 watts. So I couldn't put both of those there to kind of just like blow that situation out of the water. If I had something like EcoFlow, Max, Delta, something or another that can actually take in a 1600, that would have been perfect right there. But it didn't solve that problem. So it's like, okay, I got two 550 watt panels, okay. So what I was left with is it will probably have to replace one of these, and then it will push out my 320 to be on where this 200 watt panel is. So then I would end up with two super tall 550 watt panels right here. They are about, okay, that one's 66 inches by 40. The panels were 89 inches by 44. So let me just hear me out here for a second. I don't know if the internet's gonna reach, but I'm gonna try. Let's see if I can make it. The quality may degrade, but if you can still hear me, then you're good. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hopefully the internet's still popping. Give me 1 second. I just want to kind of show what I'm dealing with here in terms of having a 90-inch panel. What do we got? That's 89 right there. Oh, you son of a blues player. So that's 90. I guess that's not too bad, but that's a lot. To be angled like that, I would have two of these here, and they would go into, what's this? This is the Duran. Oh man, I might be my quality may go. Let me go back up. Get back within better range of my Wi-Fi's. I was gonna do my iPhone because my iPhone has its own internet connectivity. So I would have two super huge panels that would have to go on two separate power stations, which was fine. I was gonna make it work. Let me see if y'all start complaining yet. Hold on. Chat, comments. Okay, everything was good. Thank you. I can't see my screen and the comments at the same time. So I would have had two super huge, and this is what it came down to. I would have had to have all of those panels stay there, and all it would have freed up for me was these 100-watt panels, which I have no real use for. Once bigger panels come into play, there's no plus to having these. Whereas if I could have had those panels go over here, then these 200-watt panels could have replaced that. They could have replaced both of those, and maybe like it is now, one of them could have came up here. So it wasn't the sweetheart deal that I was looking for. Whereas like I'd much rather have four 400s. One 400 takes care of all of those. Those panels just go away. No problems, no complaints. They go into the garage, the basement is all good. Two panels replace all four of those when there were four of them. Another panel could go right here where this 320 is, and then my 320 could possibly replace that one. And it would be like a more uniform look. 400, 400, 320, 400s. And then these panels are freed up to do whatever I want with them. For example, I have out in the front of my house, I have two 100-watt flex panels. I could very easily throw just one of these on the front. My wife wouldn't be happy about it, but it could work. All right, let's go back inside. Oh man, I'm talking about you being unhappy with me.
Yeah, with all that going on out there.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Just cut it out. All right. Let's get this. Get me back. Boom. Okay. I feel like that should be good. Can you guys hear me again over here? Did the microphone connect back up and all that jazz? I'll keep this one over here in case I need to journey into forever. So the 550s were dope. They were going to be big, and they were really they weren't really going to change the look of or the cohesive whatever of my situation in the backyard, which is what I'm going for. I kind of want to simplify things, and they wouldn't have really helped that much with that. Also, those 550-watt panels don't necessarily have piers. Let's see. I think you guys should still be able to hear me. I haven't seen nobody complaining, so I'm assuming we're good. There's not a whole lot of 550-watt panels. I think I came across these people, Solar Ever, which makes the 410 of what I was trying to get. They have some 550s, but they're not massively available. You can't, I mean, big panels are not massively available, period. Also, I wanted to explain again this idea that um, I don't like the idea of the 300-watt panels, the 320s. I'm not opposed to it because I have that Renogy 320 out there. So even if I had to settle on just getting some 300s to kind of match that Renogy, which is 66 by like 40 pounds, which is easy for me to move. That could be okay. If I had to settle in that realm, I kind of would. But a lot of these used panels, the ones that are selling that are 300 watts, 330 watts, they're typically the same size as like 450 newly efficient models. So they'll be like 82 inches, 89 inches. Don't quote me on the 89, but the 82 I certainly have seen. 80 I certainly have seen. So it's an 80-inch panel by 40 to 44, basically the size of some 400s, and you only get 300. I don't want to because I have such a small backyard. I have such a um, just a small footprint that I can put panels in. I don't want, for the sake of a deal, to get these panels and just have to have more panels out there because I want to be able to get as much power into my power stations as possible. And then I also have to think about future proofing my situation. So I have to buy thinking forward because let's say in the future, a power station that can take in 1600 watts. You think about the sweetheart deal of the AC 300, which can take in two panel arrays. That situation, then what would I do? You know what I mean? I have all of these 300s and they're taking up a whole bunch of space. And then now, if I decide, okay, man, I got a transfer switch in now and I want to have more power coming in, I have all of these panels. So I can't quite afford in my mind to keep what's my thing being incremental. So that's kind of why I want some 400s because even in a situation where you have, let's say, an EcoFlow Delta Pro with its 1600-watt capacity of solar, if I had those 400s and I wanted to put those all together, then that's a nice array, a nice clean array. The two 550s will all almost have to stand alone. Here's another thing about the 550s. Their amps were very high. Not very high, but they were like 13 point something amps a pop. Put that into perspective. My EB120 maxes out at 10. My Ace Volt, which is right down here, maxes out at 15. The Alcatel is pretty much the same device, 15. The Duran Einer or the Duran, that one maxes out at 20. Now, panels don't typically put out their full rated amps. On those 10 amp panels, I usually get about 8. So on a 13-watt panel, I would probably get about 10, 11, whatever, which kind of is fine, but it'll be 11 plus 11 is 20. And I don't think, does anybody know what the amp limit on the Delta Pro is? I think it's 15 as well. Maybe it's like super high, but I see Jason Order around. I wonder if he knows. Or sorry about that. Freaking eye started itching. All right, let me see what y'all talking about. Okay. All right, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Lots of great panels. Have you considered a simple 2x4 wood frame setup? I'm not building nothing. I don't, first of all, I don't want to build anything. I was just talking with my wife about this. Somebody was asking me if I was going to build a frame or something. I'm not building anything for sure until we move to another house. I just don't have the space back there. It would just become like a monstrosity to put something on a frame. Now that fence area maybe, but I could just lean them up against the fence. I don't want to build stuff just for the sake of building stuff. And then also, I think what I hope people understand is that with me being a YouTuber and a smaller YouTuber at that, my situation is kind of always in flux because I'm always getting different stuff. Not always, but you get different stuff enough. You have to kind of change things around. Stuff will work. I'm not going to be building and then unbuilding. And then certain panels have different sizes. I just don't find the appeal in building. And I personally just don't want to build anything. I'm not into that. I think it's cool that people get out there and kind of hammer away. I don't think it's cool.
No.
I do. I used to watch that stuff as a kid all the time.
You think it's cool?
That other people do it, yeah. I think that's dope. What's going on? My Zoom just feels really off here. See if I can fix that. So no, not building anything. Not gonna happen. In the first week running my modem and router, it just shut off completely and had to manually turn it back on, even with AC power hooked up. I don't know what that's about. Got the firmware updated to the newest version. Mine got better after update. What are y'all talking about? Sheesh, I gotta go back. Let's see. Only use DC when using UPS because the EB3A doesn't shut off. At times, like trying to use what AC does. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to bail out on that one. All right. What's up, Jay? Yeah, you good. We just came back in from outside looking at my panel situation. I was talking about how the 550s, they weren't they were gonna be a good look. But I think they were a little too big and they weren't gonna fit extremely well in my system. But the reason why I went through with it is because they were a good future-proof purchase. But realistically, when you think about it, that 550 total 1100 watts of power would have probably only been good for just one power station. I don't see you doing anything else to make those panels work with anything else. The voltage and stuff was fine. The amps were a little high, but the Renogy 450 amps are high as well. Even the two sets of panels that I was looking at on Santan on the last live, where I was talking about solar panels, I believe their amps were relatively high. The one that was 450 something or another, I could just show you. Why am I going through all of this? What we got here? What we got here? Share. Let me get this stuff out of the way. Okay. I actually still have them up, I believe. The 410 and the 455. The 455 is actually on sale for $254. That's pretty cool. Let me share the screen. Entire screen to select, add the stream. No, not you. Add you to stream. Let's do that. So if you look at this 455, this was not my first pick, even though it's the bigger panel. Well, check out the measurements on it. It's 82 by 40 and 50 pounds. Also, the max amps are, I find it to be reasonable. 11, 12 amps, I could work with that because, like I said, it won't get all of that power unless it's just a banging Habib Marwan day. My wife started watching 24, so she's seeing how hard in the paint Habib Marwan goes. 11, 12 amps, I could work with that. And you compare that to this one, which is, did this one go up? Okay, no. The 455 has always been around 250. It's this one that's 270 that I would actually like to get because look at the measurements on it. This one is 68 by 44. I like that height because I'm used to having that height in the yard. And 44 inches is just 4 inches wider than my 320. And my 320, I can grab my wingspan of my arms. It's like nothing. I grab it and it's not wide at all. So an extra 5 inches would be nothing to move. And it's only like about 7 pounds heavier, I believe. I think that 320 is like 40. It might be 30. I don't know. No, it's not 30. So you look at the amps on this one though. The amps on this one is 14. So right now, currently, my power stations, it would be, if I had to put those in parallel, one, I would have to fuse them, which I don't know how to fuse. I'm kind of learning a little bit about that in terms of just how easy it is. It's just like finding an inline fuse. I would have to fuse them if I wanted to go parallel. It would be ideal to go parallel. Actually, quick deviation. Somebody commented on my video about my plug burning up, and they were like, "Yeah, you should just put fuses on them. It's a cheap, inexpensive way to kind of like cut down on having issues like that." And I think I'm going to actually endeavor to research that and figure that out because I don't want to have any problems with these power stations or cables burning and stuff like that. I feel like if a fuse would stop that, then I need to do fuses. And of course, as I learn, I'll share that stuff with you guys. All right. So this is the 410. This is to me the perfect panel, but not the perfect price. 270, that math does not work out for me. I'm not going to do the math this time. I did it on another live stream. Um, So I'm watching this one to see if it goes on sale because this is the kind of panel that I will want to get like 4 of them, and then it'll be shipping for like $250. And right now, this math comes out to like 80 some odd cents a watt. And I'm just not going to pay that much. I want to be around like 60. If I could find this or 400 watt or 385 or something like that, and I could get it in the form factor that's ideal for about 50 to 60 cents a watt, then I'm in. I think I'm in at least. Let's see. We'll remove this for now. Upgrading now. Okay, you dealing with your power station. There are fuses inside MC4 connectors. Yeah, that's the only way. My understanding is the way you have to inline fuse them. It'd have to be an MC4 connection. Plugged my EB3A to my house generator plug. I have a 12 volt. I assume that's LiPo battery connected to the EB3A and a 12 volt battery charged from panels. Need to upgrade something capacity with battery would I recommend? Interesting. Uh, to be honest, I feel like just stick with the ones that like Jason Noyd and Will Prouse have reviewed and spoke kindly of. I'm not tearing no batteries apart, but my batteries function. I have Lifetime and Dr. Prepare. Power Queen seems like a good joint to consider. Um, this company Time USB reached out to me recently about a 50 amp hour battery, which is about 640 watt hours. I just feel like any of those main brands, Power Queen, this Power Queen, Dr. Prepare, Lifetime or Ampere Time. I've seen some people talk about Redodo. Uh, yeah, I think that a lot of those batteries are fine. They'll do the job just fine. What's up, subject to change? Anybody having any issues using adapters on cables when charging? Got no power from my panels through the adapters to the. You got to be a little more on that. Your Alcatel 501 barrel plug. I'm not sure I followed that. Thank you, sir. I'm cheap. Luckily, those batteries are cheap. It's like $300 for 1,200 watt hours. That's not a bad deal. All right, so I'm really I can't see used panels working out for me because a lot of those used panels are huge, and I just something in my brain is not going to be okay with. For example, Renogy, their 320 watt panel. I was rewatching some of Will Prouse's old videos about his like just solar panels and buying the $50 Jinko ones from Santan and blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. Renogy used to make a panel that was the same size as my 320. It was like a 275 or a 250. The performance wasn't great on it, and it was the same size as my 320. Something in me, because of my small yard and the fact that I guess I'm a techie, I can't go backwards too far. I just can't go inefficient and large, no matter how cheap it is. Even with like some people were talking about, maybe you could get like a 250-watt Jinko for like, sometimes they're going to sell for like $50. Um, Plus shipping, you get 10, 12, 15 of those, plus a $250 pallet shipping. That's a good look, but I don't want 10, 12, 15 of those panels. What am I going to do with that, man? I don't have the kind of like real estate to take advantage of that. And even if I did, I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I feel like I don't need the latest and greatest, but I can't step back that far. I need the panels to be efficient. So my journey continues. So it's not all bad. I lost $30 on the joint. I actually thought about calling them because it was broken. My buyer's protection didn't really kick in, but I don't know if it's worth my time to be calling them. I don't know, man. I was thinking about it though. Probably a polarity issue, reverse positive and negative. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure I followed the question though. A few of my 5525 to Blue Eddy style 7909 have gone bad. Check the continuity on your adapters. True. Let's see what's sharp for me. Use frugal instead of cheap. It sounds better. Hey, man, that man understand he cheap. Some people are cheap. Just point blank, period. And some people just try to be like really smart with their money, but some people don't want to spend nothing on nothing. So I'd call them $30 is worth the 20 minute. That's a good way to look at it. It certainly is. I wonder, man. That's like at some point I don't like to deal with the hassle, and I just kind of I get okay with letting it go. But you make a good point. $30 is certainly worth it. Man. So here's another thing. I could be wrong. I don't know if set type remembers because we talk about a lot of stuff. But when I had those 4 panels in series on my AC 200p, I feel like 20, 40, 60, 80 volts should have been going in there. Maybe a little bit higher because the panels are not just flat at 20. They're probably like 21 or something like that. Actually, those panels were made to have higher voltage and lower amps because I bought all of them with the EB70 in mind. So they're probably more like 24 volts. So they could be sitting at 22 or something on a load, because I feel like what I measured them at, and I have the video on it, the AC 200p with the 4 panels in series. I tested the voltage. I think it was like 90. I never saw really good voltage on off of that array, but I've never owned the AC 200p, so I don't know what the ideal voltage, what the MPPT does to the voltage. I don't know. Um, but I feel like my voltage now is about 60, and that doesn't feel very far off of what I would get on a lot of days with all 4 panels in it. Now, I don't see as much solar, but when you put it into perspective, that's a 600-watt array. We know that 100 watts of solar will produce about 500 watt hours. So that means a 200 watt will produce a kilowatt. I got 3 200-watt panels just to round up. So that should be about 3 kilowatt hours of power if you get about 5 hours of sun a day. The AC 200p is only a 2,000 kilowatt hour battery pack. So the fact that it's producing, it has the potential to produce 3 kilowatts, is a decent pairing on the AC 200p because I do run stuff off of it. But the 800 watts, it was overkill in my mind, which is why I took the panel off and put it on the 8 volt, which is right here, which has been working out quite nicely. Um, I have been finding what I have found is during the summer months, if I have 2 Sundays in a row, I'm basically swimming in power. I'm right at the the a little bit over my capacity right now for being able to take all of that power in. Now I should have another power station on the way. It's not LifePo, but it's 1,000 watt hour capacity. If that fan is quiet, it may go into my zone one. My EcoFlow. Actually, I have a video, a short that I'm gonna put out probably tomorrow morning about that EcoFlow River Max 2 because it's just not what it's cracked up to be for me in that zone. Really nice device. I'm not complaining about it. I'm complaining about that fan. But what I did now is I put my Go Labs back over there. Um, and I have my internet on the Go Labs. And I talk about this in the short. I talk about it in the short, and I have a video that I created that's going to be an extended video that I have to upload and put on Patreon and all that jazz. So if you want to check that out, you can go to Patreon. It won't be behind the paywall or anything, but it will be a Patreon direct upload. I think I may put it on YouTube. Anyway, so that new power station, it's not LifePo, but it's 1,000 watt hours. It can take maybe about 200 watts of solar into it. So I'm not like losing out on anything by putting it there. The only thing is it's an off the beaten path power station. So I have to constantly weigh these things. Actually, another thing, the Duran Duran. Oh man, the Duran Duran. I got to make a video update for that one because I found this really weird thing where when it's charging from solar and it's charging something through AC, sometimes the solar input goes away. And I just was testing it the other day. It seems like it's still getting the solar power, but the screen stops showing you the input. And the guy from the company gave me this reason, but this reason doesn't necessarily hold weight, or it just is what it is. But I'm gonna have to inform you guys via an official video to let you know about this downside because it sucks. It's not the worst thing, but it sucks. But the Duran Duran, because of how quiet it is, I was about to, in my mind, I was getting excited, like, man, that could come up into this zone right here, and that could work. But it has that AC 200p limitation where it needs 2 panels in series. So I was just like, oh, it's like it's always something. It wasn't a perfect situation because I can't put these panels in series right here in this zone. And that's those 2 panels that are right outside that are in parallel right now, the Rich Solar and the Bourgeois V. If I put them in series, once one gets shade on it, then the other one's going to stop performing. So I have to have them in parallel. And I can't put it in my TV zone because it's the same situation. I only have a single panel. That panel is 12 volt. The Duran Duran needs a 24 volt panel. But just how quiet it was. What else? Something about it had me kind of stoked. Oh, it doesn't do this beeping that the Ace Volt does when the sun is going down or when the sun is kind of coming up. I was like, man, I almost got excited, but then I had to stop. So, all right, see what y'all snapping and driving about. Oh man. Um, I find as it relates to this idea of the cables and stuff like that, I've been going really hard in the paint with my 5521 to certain adapted connections, and it's been working out fine for me. What was I having some issues with? I was struggling with something. I'm always scared that USB-C is going to fail on me because the ports just don't seem that sturdy on a lot of devices. And I'm really like, man, I'm nervous about stuff like that. I'm really nervous about. Does anybody know if the EB3A dual charges? It's not big enough to make sense, but I wondered if it dual charge. I hate that the AC, the EcoFlow doesn't dual charge, because what happens is that's another thing I was talking about. What happens is when if it's an overcast day, it already doesn't have like a high volt. It doesn't have a good low voltage threshold. It seems because my OG EcoFlow will be charging at about 8 watts, and then my EcoFlow River 2 Max will be getting nothing. 8 watts, 10 watts. I think it starts to register around 10 watts. That works for me. I don't mind that at all because when I have the internet on it, the internet only uses 20. So it's like if I got half of that coming in on an overcast day, I could work with that. I'm listen. Um. Okay, I called them. Thanks. I'll check it out. Frugal is smart. What's that? Frugal is smart. Cheap is when you end up making bad decisions that cost you in the long run. I guess. I feel like cheap people, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I could have warped ideas of what cheap means. Um, like I think cheap people go to like Goodwill and they get their clothes for like just mad cheap. Uh, but cheap is also a disposition where you just don't want to spend money. You end up cutting corners and things like that. So I can kind of get that logic. When are you and Dell going live again? Did I miss it? You may have. I don't know. We went live on the family channel. I really have to get the TRR live channel going because we just had this conversation recently. What were we talking about? The show All Rise, where they renewed it for a third season, and at the um, I won't spoil it for you. She just did something to me that felt out of character. And I felt like it's some new writers trying to write conflict into the show like unnecessarily. So, and me and my wife were kind of disagreeing about it. So it's something that it would have been nice to talk about live. But we go live on the family channel, and we went live recently. We talked about how we met recently, and I don't know if we had one after that, but yeah, we be going live. You know what I mean? It's not a lot, but we be doing it. What up, Ive? I ended up ordering an All Powers R600 yesterday. Interesting. 300 watt solar for a smaller unit, pretty decent. How much you pay for it? Goodwill is frugal. Yeah, I can see that.
I think people who only shop at Goodwill and won't shop anywhere else could be considered cheap. I feel like Goodwill can be for people who are just frugal, but you can find some really nice things, some nice deals, nice bargains. Like that doesn't make you cheap.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. My wife is saying like, I would deal with that. And it's like my wife is saying that her thought is like, you're cheap if you only shop at Goodwill. It's like Goodwill's a good. I think it's like
be considered, not that you are.
you wait. What are you saying?
You can be considered cheap.
Oh, you can be considered cheap.
Not that you are cheap.
Okay. I think it's a mindset. So here's what Setai says. Agreed. Cheap is cutting the wrong corners, like maybe buying a car that is too cheap that ends up costing more in repairs. A frugal car is maybe a little more upfront, but cheaper to own overall.
You know what I think?
What you think?
I think cheap is when you buy stuff that impacts you adversely because you weren't willing to spend a little bit more money on more a higher quality thing. Like I think about like you're cheap when your food is you buy a certain kind of food and also your clothes and also your clothes. Somebody's crying. Hold on.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. See him sharing them $5. That ain't cheap. You know what I mean? I'll take that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I saw that one, so I guess I didn't know you didn't miss one then. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, yeah, man. I agree entirely. When it hurts you, that's cheap versus frugal. There you go. So Mike, what would you say you are? Would you say you're cheap or frugal? Just keep it a buck. You out here cutting corners and it's hurting your pockets and your life overall. Oh man. I've been doing good overall with my power usage. Like I said, 2 days in a row of sun, I'm kind of swimming in it and looking for stuff to power. But I still haven't found perfect synergy, but I got to the point where one day I had a lot of power stations just kind of like piggybacking off of others. I didn't have like panels deployed. So what happens, and I'll do a walkthrough soon of how I handle all of my power stations, just with real life. I kind of have this series, real life with solar, and I'll do a walkthrough of the situation. But um, I think all but my Sateki 500 were charged in some capacity. So the EB70 was outside in the yard with the two 200 watt, the two 100 watt panels on it, the rock pals. That one typically gets yard deployed now. I don't have that one in the house anymore, being charged from something. Every now and then it will replace the EB3A, but I think I did a video about that. Anyway, um, that one when it gets full, because it does get full on two, because I'm angling those panels now. I usually lay my panels flat, but because I use it to power dump into something else, I want to get the most power. And my kids also use that to game off of. So I want to make sure it's getting fully charged as at the end of the day. So what it'll end up doing, because it's a 700 some odd watt hour battery and it's in the sun for a lot of the day, it'll get full because it's, two 100 watt panels will give you 1,000 watts. So I'll go through and I'll take the big blue out there and I'll power dump through its two USB-C ports, which works out because the big blue has bidirectional, but the EB70 only has one way charging, so I don't have to battle with that. So I just know the EB70 is going to give the big blue the 120 watts or so. The Sateki 500 is typically always in my TV zone so that my EcoFlow River Max can power dump into it because it has a 200 watt panel on it. So it'll fill that up in half the day. So I have to power dump somewhere else with that. At the front door, I have my OG EcoFlow River. That's only 286 watt hours, so I definitely have to power dump with that. What typically sits over there now is what I've been using is on that day that I found like synergy. I will put the oops. I'm gonna make a video about oops because I don't think oops they're not in my good graces. Big Blue either. That Cell Power 500, I don't know if it's still available for purchase, but that dip has problems, and this Oops 500 has problems. And then Jason Noy reviewed at least two of them, and one of them didn't do well on the USB-C test. It said it had like a 60 and an 18, or maybe a 60 and a 30, and something was off about those ports. And I think even the another one that he did has something off about it. I don't remember, but they're not in my good graces. I hope their bigger ones are fine, are better, because they keep coming out with more, which they should. But I thought about doing a video about them, just saying like, y'all are not well with me now. Downstairs, my situation with those power stations down there is actually really good as well. Uh, actually, let's see. Maybe we could go down. Give me a second. Let's see if I can get it appropriately lit. I think it's probably somewhat of a mess down there. What? What'd you say? I mean, my stuff. Let me add to the stream. Okay. Now what? Now what? I know that is muted. I can mute. Oh, this mic was on the whole time. That shouldn't have been a problem because it wasn't on the stream. Okay, cool. Let's remove that. And then I think we should be good. Let's go for a stroll. All right. Let's turn that on. So here's my situation down here. Oh, snap. This thing right here. Let me check my chat. Make sure y'all still got me. Get an office chair at Goodwill. I don't care. Chair works. I literally don't care. I've had that chair since I worked at Best Buy. This tip has been kind of concerning me. Jason Noy put me at ease. Setai also put me at ease a little bit. I've been getting a weird smell from this one. It doesn't quite smell like burning, but it doesn't smell great either. But what I'm came down here for is this situation has been working out pretty good. And then I have these over here to power dump into. I actually just pulled one of these upstairs to charge my EcoFlow River Max. But this one, it was roughly an overcast day to day, and it got up to 37%. I think it may have been, I don't remember. My wife told me, she was down here. She plugged up something for me. I think that one was at 30%. So it got about a 30% bump. These are the chargers and all that I use to power dump into here. So this has been doing okay as well. If I get one of these full or they approach full, I start power dumping into my batteries using my battery chargers. That's my second battery charger. I have to get all of this together. I want to rearrange this stuff so that these wires are coming in back here behind the deep freezer. So I kind of swept back here. I need to mop, and then I need to start running wires back here. That's the plan, but it's just not happening for me. I feel like I have to take a day off to endeavor to do it because I'm just not going to stop to do all of this because it's producing power. It's working. The downside to that, I have these things kind of coming in strategically. So my first set of wires is the big array, the 600-watt array going into this one. My second set of wires is actually probably going into the Alcatel, which is on the Renogy 320. What? The deep freezer? Okay, go for it. My third set of wires is the 4 100-watt panels, and that goes directly into the Duran. But if I put this one back here, this is my main one that I use to power my mini fridge over here. So it would be a lot further from it than I want it to be because my extension cord that I use gets it to about right here. It's not a big deal. I could just get a longer extension cord, but it just kind of, it's what holds me back from doing certain things, little things like that. So I want this one kind of back there and to get it out of the way. I don't know. This is why I need to take a day to do it because I don't have a plan and I kind of need to sit with this a little bit to figure out a plan. And I don't have a plan yet. But these have been doing pretty good in terms of getting power in down here. I'm really happy with how this setup is working out. And the batteries are working out as well. Now, this is where the 200-watt dip is. How do I turn the other light on? And it's the 200-watt all powers is always plugged into the EB120, which is interesting because that wire in this setup is tight. And that's not perfect. So I may have a 200-watt panel coming from this company, Ruska. It's like Alaska, where the R is replacing the second A. It's weird. And I'll probably use that to go into the EB120. And then the all powers will probably replace the 2 rock pals. I don't know. All right. I got my light on my Wi-Fi switch right here. I still need to do the video about this Wi-Fi switch and how this helps out a lot around here. All right. I don't think I can switch this camera around easily. So y'all just gotta watch me walking. This is the walking thing. The vloggers show you walking 50 feet. Bunch of weirdos. Oh man. And the funny thing about the all powers is I actually have an extension cable over here that I need to cut up. I bought my little joints that Will recommended. The only downside is you have to push the wire through on these. You can't. So I have to cut the wire, then put it in here to like cut it, and then crimp it and all that jazz. No, it's not a crimper, stripper, because I need to take this cable down here, and I want to split it into maybe like a 15 and 5 or 12 and 8. It's a hold on, let me get this right. It's a what is it? It's a 20-foot cable. Remove. Got it. Unmute. Cool. I think that'll work. All right. 56 minutes. I'm doing all right, baby. Let's see here. I've actually been looking for chairs every now and then, off and on. I just don't be moved. My chair works. It's fine. It's all beat up. This chair's like, man, this chair is old. It's about as
Our first and only, like, office chair.
yeah,
Besides those two.
probably like 2009, maybe. Yeah, it's old. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's the code for the All Powers Power Station. Wait, what did you say? Did you say how much it was? It was off whatever. I don't know how you say that. YouTube. That's where I saw the code. He did a good review of the R600. What is the R600 by All Powers? Let me check this out. All Power sent me a couple budget panels. I reached out to them about a power station and they were like silent. But I can't blame these companies, man. They be acting all funny with me, but my sub count is not high enough. So I ain't mad at them. I'll have my time. Let's add. All Powers, $60 coupon, probably an extra coupon. That's not bad looking. And it's LiPo, 400 watt input, but I'm assuming that's on AC, 600 watts. Okay, that's cool. I need to see what what's the voltage. This is why in a lot of ways, this is why I started my YouTube channel, because when I start going through this stuff and I can't find pertinent information, I'm like, what are we doing here? I need to know what the voltage range is, but they don't put this stuff here. Let's see. So yeah, I don't know. I guess, I'd have to watch old boy's review video. Charge from solar, 300 watt max input. That's not bad. XT60, 300 watt max. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little device, it seems. 200 watt max input, 12 volt vehicles. I guess you could only get the 200 watts if you go 24 volt. That's not bad. I've been thinking about this idea of trying to figure out how to charge a Tesla from solar, because you'll see people, they'll have a power station and it will be a big old power station, Delta Pro type of thing. And I get it. But what I'm trying to find is what kind of way can you get a smaller power station that doesn't have that larger battery, but can pass through most of the power to it. I don't think that exists right now, but you would need like, I don't know. I've been thinking about it though. It'd be cool to have something like really lightweight to give your car like 3 or 4 miles an hour. Just because I was talking about how like everything within our area is pretty close in terms of like running to like a grocery store and all that jazz. We don't have to go very far to do like our little ripping and running. we don't have to drive like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get to a major area. So a little EV would be cool. But my problem is I don't like any of the EVs. So I do like the Volkswagen ID4. That's the one that I've settled on, that I like the look of it. Most all of the other ones, I don't like the look of it at all. And my wife doesn't either. And that's important. The power dumping information is useful. Your videos help me use my EB3A rather than my gas generator. Nice. During a power outage, no gas refills, just solar. That's what's up, man. That's dope. I'm glad I could help, man. Again, this is why I make videos, because I be wanting like people to give me ideas in terms of like how to usefully use solar and be able, like, tips and tricks that don't come natural to the natural mind. So trying to help out where I can. The price on the AC, the Bluetti AC60 is going to be interesting and telling. Hopefully they don't go greedy. And that's not bad. $200. I have to put that into context because it's 300 watts of input, which is really good. I really have to put this into context because if it end up being $200 and it's, it's a smaller watt hour capacity, but it's LiPo, it probably charges fast. My thing would be, what kind of connectivity does it use? Oh, this is like a little Alcatel, it seems. Alcatel has this kind of little layout on the side. I'm not saying it's made by Alcatel, but hold on, let's see here. Does it have any DC in the USB? I don't see that. That sucks. But it has. Okay. All right. I'll have to watch that guy's video. But I'm looking at. So it does direct charging, no power brick, which is cool. And it's an XT60 with 300 watts of solar. I have to swirl this around. I do. I do have to stop spending $200 on power stations, though. Yeah, I do. Let's see what else we are talking about. That's it. The coupon. How much on-grid power do you use? Me personally, I typically average about 18 kilowatt hours a day. Using solar, I can get down to 14 and 12, sometimes even lower. You just think about 18 kilowatt hours a day and how much capacity I have down there in the basement. You know what I mean? That's like, let's just call all of those, grocery drive 1.5. So, that's almost 5. Shoot, throat is really dry. And then you have all my other power stations around here. So I have a good bit of power. I'm going to do a video this summer during the proper date where I'm going to drain all of my power stations, probably on an overcast day when I'm going to have 2 consecutive days of sun. And what I'll do is I'll use no solar that day, and we'll just live our lives like we normally do. I'll probably do this video a couple times because when the air conditioning season kicks in, that's a whole different story. I'll use no solar, and then I'll do a day where I use all of that power and see how it shakes out. And I'll record that video and you guys will be able to see it. Hopefully it's an easy one to do because I can tend to complicate stuff. We're going to get a couple more comments in and I'm going to break out of here. Max input is 30 volts. That's interesting. I don't like half-hour devices. I prefer more watt hours than watts. That's interesting. I like those devices because I can use them to power dump. I'm so used to power dumping though. It's probably just not ideal to do that. But I'm so used to doing it that I can see the benefit in having a device that can take in a good bit of solar and then pump that right back out to the system. Like if this particular solar device is, 300 watt hours is a hard pitch for me, man. But $200 is a good look. Maybe I'll email All Powers and see if they'll send me one. They didn't respond to my last email. They're like, yo, you're a scrub. Sorry, Ive. Okay. Yes, the battery is disappointing, but since it can take 30 volts in. I'm going to have a backup sidekick battery. 30 volts is indeed pretty good. I won't be mad about devices improving the solar inputs. I've been pretty annoyed with EcoFlow devices. I have like 400, 500 watts of solar. Yeah, that's a good point. That's what I was thinking about with that AC60. Like, it can only get 200 watts of solar. And you can expand it. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It has an app and also fast charging. Nice. Wi-Fi app, that's a good question. No, just Bluetooth. Good question. Almost awesome. I like when they have Wi-Fi. It's the one thing that makes my big blue 2500 tolerable. All right, folks. I hope I touched on all the points. The 550 watt-hour panels, they were cool. I was certainly going to use them, but they weren't like the perfect solution for me. I need like 400s, and I've been watching Santan for a while to kind of accomplish that. Y'all be beautiful. Watch out for some shorts. I have them coming, and enjoy your day, beautiful people.